Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are on lesson 16, chapter 16, which is understanding the importance of responsive web design. What we're going to talk about in this lesson is what is responsive web design, also known as RWD, why we need responsive web design, what is progressive enhancement, and how to write HTML that's RWD ready. So up till this point, lessons 1 through 15, we have learned enough information to build a basic website. We learned how to use HTML, we learned how to use CSS, and we learned some JavaScript. We know how to make navigation menus, we know how to style them, and we know how to add different pages and link our external CSS style sheet. We know how to add images, videos, audios, and pretty much enough to build and maintain our basic website. What we haven't really talked about is more theory about web design and how to build sites that provide real value to our users or our customers. And one of these key things is making a responsive website, meaning that no matter what size screen a user is on, the website still looks good, the same, or changes a little bit, and all the content, text, images, menu items are still there. So whether on their tablet, on a computer, or on a cell phone, we want to deliver the same experience or really good experience across all devices. A few things you've probably seen is you'll go to a website on your computer and it will have this big menu, and then you'll go to on your phone and you'll see those little 3 lines it calls a hamburger menu. So it doesn't actually display the whole menu, but it displays these 3 lines that you can click on, and when you click on that, it actually shows a drop down of the whole menu. So that's a responsive web design feature, meaning that it couldn't display that whole menu across your small cell phone screen, and if it did, the text would be really small or be squished or stacked on top. So what it does is it responds to the user's small screen size. It makes that little hamburger menu icon, those 3 lines on top of each other, and then when you click on it, it shows you all the menu items. This is a really important responsive design feature, and you need to keep this in mind when building your websites, that you need to design for all different screen sizes and device types. So responsive web design, it really involves in looking at how your customers are going to interact with the website. And you want to create a website that works for the customers that are going to be using that site. We're going to be talking about what responsive web design is and why responsive web design is really important, especially in this day and age. Pretty much every single website I make, I think of making a responsive design site or making it so users on their cell phones, tablets, and computers are able to look at it and see all the content. In the past, how it was done is they would have a complete separate style sheet or code for the mobile site, and it would be like a really subpar, lacking, watered down version of their main site for mobile. It's not really done like this anymore. An industry standard is making responsive design websites. So this lesson in this chapter, it starts out talking about what is responsive web design. Basically just telling you that it's an approach that considers the customer's device and then it adapts for optimal viewing, meaning based on their screen size, it changes how you see the content. When you make a responsive site, the web designer builds one page, and that one page can be viewed on all different devices. Here are some examples of responsive web design. This first one is going to show you what it looks like to have an image be responsive. When the CSS property is set as a percentage value, the image will scale up and down when resizing the browser window. So we can resize this browser window here, and notice the image will be resized. And that's a responsive image. Next example is using media queries. So our breakpoint here is at 700 pixels. So if we go smaller than that, notice how everything will stack. Once we reach that breakpoint of 700 pixels wide, it lays out like this. So this is an example of responsive web design. We're setting a 700 pixel as the breaking point. So once this screen reaches 700 pixels or smaller, everything stacks like this. And this is done here. We're saying the width is 100% when the viewport is 700 pixels or smaller. So that means the width of these is 100% of the screen, which means they'll stack on top of each other if the screen size is smaller than 700 pixels or 700 pixels. When it goes larger, these change here. The main area is 60%, the left area is 20%, and the right area is 20%. So this is that 60%, 20%, and 20%. This is a simple example of responsive web design. Another example is how you would lay out a site right here. Notice how we have our header, we have this area, navigation to the left, this area to the right, and then our footer, our main content in the center. Look what happens when we resize our screen. Once we get to a certain threshold, everything will stack. And this is how it would look on a mobile device. So we go larger, it goes back to normal. This is also done by using a media query. The max width is 620 pixels. So anything that's 620 pixels or smaller, it will show all these areas, menu, main, and right, 100% width, which is what we see when it goes like this. They're 100% wide. When it gets larger than 620 pixels, we see the right area is 20%, main menu is 100%, menu is 20%. I'll scroll through all this code so you can see. So these are examples of using a responsive image, basic responsive design with media queries, and a little bit more advanced responsive design layout with media queries. All right, I hope those examples helped. Coming up next, we have lesson 16 PowerPoint presentation, so stay tuned.